Oh, the draft rankings show is back, and it's not just me. My main man, Matty Kiwum's back on the channel. It's been a hot minute, but the grass started smelling like grass last week, and that means fresh cut grass because that's what football season brings. And I had no other choice than to call my buddy up in the Northeast and say, Matty, we haven't talked in a goddamn long time. We need to talk about some football. And so we're going to start talking about some football. And it has to start halfway between he and me, which is in Washington, D.C. with Terry McLaurin. I put that one together right out of
That was pretty good.
Matty Kiwum. How we doing?
I'm doing great. We are getting closer and closer and closer to football. We're gonna get the Hall of Fame game in a matter of days. It's just we're almost back, and it feels great.
Well, when I heard Dan Campbell say that he was asked on this, I love when they do the weekend back together, whatever, on TV. They are stretched so thin when they do that with the analysts that they have. My wife was like, "Where are they? What's going on here? Like this is like so many different people." And I was like, "She's like, they're not good. What do you think?" She's like, "What do you think of these people?" And I was like, "Well, you got to think they have like 4 people in every town, all 32, so they're stretched." Like 128 deep, and they don't have 128 that can competently put sentences together about football, unfortunately. But it is fun nonetheless to see them bounce around and talk about different things. And they sat down with Dan Campbell and they were like, "You want to play a football game?" He goes, "We'll play a football game today. You want us to play a football game? We'll be ready to play a football game." And I was like, "All right, all right." He also was talking about. I think it was Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he used the cliche, like the kneecap bite, and he said, "Oh, he likes to eat nails." And I was like, "Eat nails? That's a new one. I hadn't heard that one before." I was like, "He likes to eat nails." I was like, "All
I've
right,
heard chew glass.
chew glass,
That got chewed
nails."
glass.
I
Well,
guess,
Dan Campbell always has those things. We're gonna drag him in the deep waters.
yeah, he's a dog, dude. I think that's gonna be I mean, we could get a halftime, we're all WWE freaking tables, ladders, and chairs breakout between Harbaugh and Dan Campbell. Could get it. Could get it. Halftime on Thursday night, this week, Thursday night. So Hall of Fame games back. Anyways, let's jump into these training camp news and notes. Terry McLaurin is the most notable. He's holding out. He came back to the building this weekend. He's now holding in. His agent said he feels like it'll be a more than likely thing that he gets a deal done by the week's end. Holding in versus holding out saves McLaurin $50,000 a day,
Yeah.
which to us is a shark ton, but to him it's, honestly, like, a dinner. He could go to dinner and spend $50K, but working out on your own at home costs him $50K. So why not go into the building and be with their teammates, et cetera, et cetera. What I think this does, Maddie, this is my first thoughts with McLaurin missing the first week. Hopefully I get up to DC here in a couple of weeks, but with him missing the first week, I think this only enhances the growth of connection between Daniels and the young guys and Daniels and Debo. So we get some more Debo, a little more Luke McCaffrey, and I would say a little more connection between him and Ben Sinnott, right? That would have to be, obviously Ertz is still there, but that connection was established last fall, like last summer. So more Sinnott, more McCaffrey, more Debo opportunities, reps, things of that nature. But McLaurin's going to get paid by the end of the week.
He needs to. He's coming off a massive year with another 1,000-yard receiving season, 13 touchdowns. But the thing that came to my mind first and foremost was, if you're the Commanders, if you're Terry McLaurin, you need to put this behind you, get him on the field, because this guy needs to be in his routine. The most impressive thing about Terry Mack, 4 straight seasons of 17 games played. And clearly his routine, his preparation is paramount. I don't want that getting messed with. I don't want him getting out of sync even one little iota. So if I'm the Commanders, I need to get this deal done. They're 19th in terms of team cap, so they're kind of towards the bottom half of the middle, but they still have plenty of room to make this deal done. We all know team salary, the cap, it's a fugazi. You can draw it out in a napkin if you give me 10 minutes on how to make it work. This guy needs to be on the team. He needs to be part of year 2 of Jaden Daniels. And to be quite frank, if he's not around, this offense looks way different because the way you want to use Debo, the way you want to use your two tight ends, the way you want to use Brian Robinson filters through having a guy who can attack deep, attack shallow, like Terry McLaurin.
Another receiver on the opposite coast wearing number 1,
Stole it.
Ricky Pearsall, off the pup on Sunday. He looks so weird in this number 1 jersey. I don't know if it's the 1 jersey or the Niners jersey, or if it's the fact that they don't got pads on, but he looks good moving around and stuff. They activated him off the pup on Sunday, like I said. So listen, you don't got to convince me to like Ricky. He now changed from number 14 to number 1, and they've talked about Juwan Jennings wanting a contract extension. I wouldn't. I've said this on the record already. I would not give Juwan Jennings a contract extension, even though I'm a massive Juwan Jennings fan in general, because I have guys like Gabe Davis, who's a free agent right now, or Isaiah Nair, who's out there, who's a super athlete right now, runs a 4.4. He's a UDFA on the Niners, like things like this where we've seen guys make it through, namely Juwan Jennings. I would not pay Juwan Jennings. Instead, I think he's not happy. He's not happy. I think Ricky Pearsall though is. I don't want to say he's the number 1. He has the abilities to be the number 1 here.
Yeah, he's going to take some time to get cooking, but luckily for him and all the pass catchers, none of them have to worry about being the number 1. The number 1 is George Kittle. The number 2 is Christian McCaffrey. So at best, you just have to worry about shouldering the number 3 load in terms of how this offense functions. And I think it could be Pearsall. And if I'm the Niners, I'm completely with you, Cody. You can't pay Jennings. And I like Jennings. I think Jennings is good. I like him in fantasy. But if you're talking about a team building standpoint, why on God's green earth did you overpay Ayuk? Why on God's green earth did you overdraft Pearsall just to then pay Juwan Jennings? That just makes no sense. That is just idiocracy in terms of team building. But you got a guy like Ricky Pearsall. He's got that possession receiver skill set. He can attack deep. I'm believing in the system here, and I'm believing that Ayuk's going to come back at some point, maybe around Halloween, start feeling a little bit healthy, a little bit after that, and now you have the receiving core that you needed. And then you talked about some of the ancillary pieces that are dirt cheap, like Gabe Davis. Why pay Juwan Jennings? But it is good to see Ricky Pearsall back. It's good to see him get most of the summer, getting that connection going with Brock Purdy, because if there is going to be anyone on this team that you go, holy shit, they had 1,200 receiving yards other than George Kittle, it's going to be Ricky Pearsall.
Is there any other receivers around the league? I mean, we can go any direction we want, but who's the next guy that comes to mind right now from, I guess, the busy weekend that was in training camp?
So I'm here in the Northeast. I'm here in New England, and the buzz around Stephon Diggs is fantastic news. He has stepped up in a major way. He continues to build that relationship with Drake May. Drake May looks fantastic. And more importantly than that, the way that Stephon Diggs is bringing that alpha receiver mentality on top of the skill set is exactly what Josh McDaniels needs as not his first year as offensive coordinator, his third stint, first year this time
First year
as
back.
offensive coordinator, first year back. So I think we got to talk about Stephon Diggs because, he did get hurt, but bounced back early. This guy is clearly a freak of nature when it comes to ability. And now he's got the clear runway to see anywhere up to 140 targets. And he had some left in the tank. We saw some juice out of him last year in Houston before the injury. Now he's up here in New England. He's shining in every practice. And we've heard some Pop Douglas here. We've heard some Kyle Williams there. We've heard these kind of secondary options get bounced back. But the name we keep hearing day in and day out is Stephon Diggs.
The other one, I thought you were going to talk about Kyle Williams.
We can talk about Kyle Williams, baby. I love me some Kyle Williams.
The rookie out of Washington State. If you were just an alien that dropped down, you downloaded the old Twitter app and you said, well, I guess the old X app, and you said, all right, who's the New England Patriots stud receiver? I think if you just opened up X, you would say Kyle Williams is the greatest thing since, sliced bread and honey buns. And I don't think he quite is there yet. I know he's had some flash plays. Pop Douglas had a flash connection from Drake May. But then I'm scrolling through and I'm, reading the reports. And Taylor Kyles, who reports on the Patriots for, SIA CLNS Media, whatever it is. I don't know what that is up there, but you know what it is. CLNS Media for the Patriots. Taylor Kyle says that it's pretty clear cut that the starting trio for the Patriots right now is Diggs at the Z, Douglas in the slot, and Kayshon Boutte at the X. And the real ones, the Devi degenerates, remember Kayshon Boutte, and he's continued to grind through. He could have easily, Maddie, and you know this, he could have easily been one of the stats of the guys that just kind of petered out. Could have been a first round pick, peters out, late round pick, and then just doesn't make a team. He's made the team and he's grinded through. And it sounds like Jalen Polk and Javon Baker are the ones fighting for roster spots, while Kayshon Boutte is actually leading the charge at X receiver ahead of Kyle Williams right now. Taylor Kyles also lists Diggs ahead of Kendrick Bourne, and then Douglas in the slot ahead of Efton Chisholm from Eastern Kentucky, who he also had some positive things to say about Chisholm. So, I mean, I just listed off 8 names at the wide receiver position and didn't say Mac Hollins, who generally, when he's on a roster, is like the sixth man. As a Patriot up there, I know you talked about Diggs, and Diggs is pretty much looked at as the uno, the alpha, the guy. What do you think about the rest of this room, and how do you kind of see it playing out based on everything you're reading up there?
The 2024 rookies sounds like they're going to be looking for employment elsewhere.
That's so wild.
It's wild to say, but Jalen Polk was out. He missed the first few days of practice because of muscle soreness. This guy just doesn't get it, Cody. I mean, we talked about how he was that borderline dog or maniacal. He has zoomed all the way into the maniacal stages. Jalen Polk just doesn't get it. He needs to be out there. He needs to be competing with this new regime, and especially a guy like Vrabel. Vrabel just wants to see the compete, and he hasn't been out there. He's getting passed over by, you just list off 8 guys. He's getting passed by every single one of them with good reason. And don't forget this, people. I know it doesn't sound sexy at all. Kendrick Bourne is the only receiver on this roster that has played under Josh McDaniels. That will track. That will track. Whether it means to production for fantasy, no. But we're talking about roster spots. It's time to start clipping Javon Baker and Jalen Polk from your dynasty rosters, because I don't think they make it here. And if they don't make it here, give me an example of a castaway after getting cut after their rookie year like that. I don't see it. I don't think it happens for these guys, especially not here, because you have Diggs, you have Williams, you have Pop, you have Mac Hollins, who ain't going anywhere. We all know they brought him in for a reason, because he does the little things well and he's great deep. And when you got like a guy like Drake May uncorking it deep, you saw that pass the other day. Either there's no room for Javon Baker or Jalen Polk on this roster as far as I'm concerned. And even if you want to get a little sillier, I mean, even Efton Chisholm has brought in more to the table through this offseason than those two guys.
Wow. That's interesting. The Efton Chisholm part is just kind of wild to me. The idea that when you get done with this receiver room, it's probably going to be goodbye Jalen Polk, goodbye. It's probably going to be goodbye Javon Baker, even though he's had a couple of good connections. Probably goodbye Mac Hollins, and like you said, those Chisholm might be the sixth guy that makes that roster, and that 60 makes the most sense. Kyle Williams and Boutte, Diggs and Bourne, like you mentioned, and then Pop and probably Chisholm. It just makes the most sense to be that 6, and we'll see if they carry a 7th. If they do, I would bet more money on Mac than Javon Baker and Jalen Polk.
Doubt.
Another AFC team with receiver situations to be looked at. I've been a proponent or a fan of Cedric Tillman in Cleveland because he's going to like the 170s right now in redraft. He had a connection with Joe Flacco on Friday that was reported in 11 on 11. It was a big catch down the sideline. So did Jerry Jeudy. And then on Saturday, Cedric Tillman goes down with a lower leg injury. Stefanski says they think they dodged a bullet. He expects Cedric Tillman to be back on the field this weekend or this week. And I guess the reason I've liked Cedric Tillman so much is because I think that he has like Nico Collins tendencies and the ability to take that step up if the situation's right. I don't think that like a Jerry Jeudy's going to hold him back per se. I don't think a David Njoku is going to entirely hold him back per se. So Cedric Tillman already banged up a little bit. After that, or next to him, I should say, is technically Jerry Jeudy and Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson, and then who has been previously listed as the third receiver has been Jamari Thrash before they signed Deontay this offseason. After that, David Bell is way down the list. DeAndre Carter's way down the list. Caden Davis, Mike Woods. Like it falls off quick. We'll just put it that way. So this is a room when we talk about Jalen Polk and Javon Baker becoming available, could potentially see one of those guys potentially going to Cleveland. But when you take into account the quarterback room, which is probably going to be Flacco, the receiver room being pretty toasty, Njoku, and then you got the running back room with Quinshon, who we don't really know officially anything yet. We love Dylan Sampson in there as well. What do you kind of make of this? I mean, just to the Cleveland, I don't know. What's your reaction to Cleveland? Cedric Tillman doesn't look like he looks like he's going to be fine. I kind of just want to err on the side of don't touch anything. And if you touch something, make it be like Dylan Sampson in the 16th round.
So, let's look at it from two different lenses. Let's look at it from an NFL standpoint. First and foremost, in that perspective, they need Tillman. This team it's just Harry. It's Harry and the flankers. It's just redundant skill set, and then you have a guy who's 6'3" who can go up and get the rock. You need him on the field. So I think from an NFL standpoint, they need him, and I like what he can bring to a team with a Joe Flacco, because I think, but I also, you talk about who you're targeting. I'm okay taking Jerry Jeudy at ADP. Jerry Jeudy, he's gonna with Flacco all year. 150 targets. I mean, geez, like this guy's gonna see a ton. We saw him be a little explosive last year. The name though that you didn't bring up, and I like the Sampson call because I think Sampson's gonna have a role early, and maybe it gets bigger if this Quinshon Judkins thing gets dicier. But the name you haven't brought up quite yet, Harold Fannin Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Already getting glowing reports from the head coach out of training camp, how well he's handling everything, as a rookie tight end, taken at the third pick in the third round, pretty good draft capital. And remember, this guy last year, I know it's a small school, it's on a Bowling Green, isn't a powerhouse, but he had 1,500 receiving yards last year, Cody. 1,500. This guy was a monster in college. And all of a sudden, you're looking at all of these flankers at the wide receiver position. You got Njoku. Why not add a bigger bodied guy like Harold Fannin? At least he's at 6'3", 240-something pounds. He can at least bring a little thump. If you're going to use a bunch of kind of over-the-middle routes, you know how Kevin Stefanski usually likes to dial it up. I'm not sleeping on Harold Fannin. If you can get him late, this is the type of guy I'm keeping my eyes on.
145 targets was the number 1 year ago for Jareth Jeudy from Mr. Jameis Winston and Deshaun Watson and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Joe Flacco seems like he has all the confidence in the world right now, and I don't think any of these other guys are going to overstep him. Number 2 on the team last year was 102 targets, was Elijah Moore. For some reason, my brain didn't register that. Jordan Akins was 4th with 58. Amari Cooper was 5th with 53. So
he was traded.
By my math, that's about 213 targets amongst the top 5 guys that were all ahead of Cedric Tillman. And Njoku was in there with 97. And Jerry Jeudy already had 145 in that grouping. So
that's right.
You could sell me on Jerry Jeudy. It didn't take much. Anybody else you want to talk about?
So one thing that is kind of popping out to me, and we're gonna kind of lump this into wide receivers and kind of just talk about a passing attack as a whole. I'm starting to get really excited about the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh,
I'm starting to get really, really excited about them boys. Could Dak Prescott break the record for single season passes?
Dude, I think this is a team that can finish top 3 in scoring.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And now we're seeing Pickens starting to gel. CeeDee Lamb, you already know. Ferguson, don't forget about Ferguson. They got weapons. He got paid today. He got paid. They're not messing around. And guess what? You look at the running back depth chart, and Javonte Williams is there. Miles Sanders is in there. Jaden Blue, who I like as a late round option, but he's not getting good reports early on out of camp. It doesn't sound like they're going to have many options when it comes to toting the rock, running the ball. They're going to let Dak throw on first. They're going to let him throw on second. they're gonna let him throw in third, and if they're close, fuck, they'll let him throw in fourth. And I'm starting to love this pass catching room. I think we could see Pickens have his best year yet because the volume is going to be so enormous in this offense that, of course, CeeDee Lamb's going to get his, but Pickens can get some too. I mean, Pickens has been plagued by being in a middling offense his entire career. And we haven't seen him really go over that, 110, 115 target mark. And even with CeeDee Lamb poised for another buck 40, buck 50, with this offense and the way it's kind of looking, kind of spelling out, Pickens is going to get 122. I'm going to love every second of it. So I think this Dallas Cowboys attack is we look in fantasy for that one Konami code breaker, that quarterback you can grab late that isn't a runner. I think that this year it's Dak Prescott.
Well, I think that's interesting because I think that's the best. I mean, don't want to give away all the secrets, but I think the late round quarterback is like the perfect strategy this year because you can't really go wrong. Goff, Purdy, Dak, Herbert, and I think you could, I can tell myself a story from McCarthy. Great indoor schedule. Drake May is there. I know it's outdoor. Yeah. Penix, depending on your belief. Tua, if he can stay healthy. Like, there's a Stafford's got, their weapon with Devon.
Trevor Lawrence,
Cam Ward's down there. I think
Cam Ward.
People hate on Cam Ward, but
those throws at Cam Purdy have
Cam
been
Ward
sexy.
2.5 years. I'm just saying, the last guy I had the last guy that I had like this much confidence in as a rookie. Like you guys know I've been fans of Will Levis and fans of Malik Willis and stuff like this. And did I say Malik Willis twice?
No, you said Will Levis and Malik Levis, yeah.
Both Tennessee guys.
It's a landing spot. It's a landing spot.
Bad regimes. The last time I've been felt this good about a rookie, and last year I felt pretty damn good about Jaden Daniels after going up to that training camp. But coming in through the process, like the last time I felt this good about just like fantasy football elevation of a player was Pat. And there's a lot of connections that could be made between him and Cam. Nonetheless, late round quarterback is a great strategy this year. I got 5 buy or sells for you, Maddie.
Let's go.
You can look at them as Fugaze or Funat. Buy or sell.
Wait. Out. Fugaze or Funat? All right, so Funat would be real.
Fugaze.
Fugaze means fake, means I'm not buying, I'm selling. And Funat means I'm buying, right?
Maybe.
All right, we're going to go with it. Fugaze or Funat. That's the new segment, boys.
Fugaze or Funat. There's been video of Josh Reynolds catching a football over Sauce Gardner. And the Dove Kleiman report is Jets wide receiver Josh Reynolds has been cooking Sauce Gardner throughout camp this far.
Fugaze. You're gonna attack a guy after you just got generationally wealthy. He's just he's getting back to form. Sauce will be just fine. There's no way Josh Reynolds is out there cooking. No way.
Fugaze or Funat. Jimmy Horn Jr. is going to go from 6th round to wide receiver 2. And by 2, I mean X is Tet, Z is Jimmy, slot is Thielen. He's going to be the starting Z at some point this season.
I like Coker, but for the sake of the argument,
Thielen's
that's his understudy. Okay, all right, good. You made it easier for me, my friend. I'm gonna go with Funat. This is a Funat because Jimmy Horn flashed the second after he was drafted. There's already video coming out that he's just like he's getting it. He's quick. He's picking it up. He's learning, and there is just a runway the size that could land a 2 747s in Carolina for pass catching. I mean, they went out, got Tet, lock and loaded. After that, it's like, is Thielen going to play till he's 58? Are we just going to, we going to keep squeezing as much out of Adam Thielen as possible? No, there needs to be another pass catcher, but someone that could take some of this. Your boy, JT Sanders. Big bong. I do like me some JT. I think people are sleeping on the possibility if they're believing in Bryce Young and in this offense, JT Sanders is there. But for the sake of this conversation, I do want to make the point that Jimmy Horn should be on your radar.
Najee Harris was spotted on the sideline of training camp this weekend with a hoodie and over his head and sunglasses on.
I don't what that I saw the video. That's undisputable. It's fact.
But just wait, I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
If it turns out that he takes his glasses off someday and there's an eye patch under there, or they say that he's lost vision or he's not expected to be back, or they put him on the IR, like in the next 2-3 weeks, Fugeza for not, Omarion Hampton should be a top 8 draft pick in redraft.
Funab. I'm buying that. I'm buying that all day. They are going to run the ball with that young man 6,000 times. They are going to just pound the rock. And this is, he's not like a small guy. This is a guy that's going to gain steam as the game wears on. And a factor that I want to talk about here that gets kind of lost is this is an offensive line that we were drooling about a year ago. Now, I know they didn't come to fruition last year, but, Big Tiger with the Mario mushrooms there, Joe Alt, Slater, Zion in the middle. They got 3 first-rounders on this line. This line is poised to maul Omarion Hampton. And if you're a superstitious lad like myself, you might not want it to be all in the Saquon Barkley business due to that Madden curse. So if you're in that range, why not take a Hampton? If you're telling me there's no Najee, then Omarion Hampton is an absolute smash.
I mean, I asked Alex this the other day. I was like, Bijan, Gibbs, Genty, Barkley, Hampton at running back.
How could you first round talent, first round DC with Harbaugh? I mean, all Harbaugh wants to do is hashtag establish the shit out of it. And now he has Hulkamania back there, and he's just not going to give him the ball 300 times. Erroneous. He liked the big body back so much he paid for one and then drafted one in the first round. That's how much he wanted to run it down the throat of his opponents. And then you look at this side note, the AFC West, stay away from it for fantasy. I know there's good players. You're going to take guys here and there. But if you want there to be shootouts in the AFC West, forget about it. They ain't going to be no shootouts. You're talking about drag them out, old school AFC North type football out west.
All right, you walked right into this one. This one's in Denver. Pat Bryant has been mentioned as the next Michael Thomas multiple times by Sean Payton. Fugeza for not, Pat Bryant's the next Michael Thomas.
Funat, Slant Boy 2.0. Funat.
You're taking that?
I am taking that. This is what we know for certain.
I thought you were going to run out in the streets with the Fugeza sign.
No, I if you would have asked me this prior to the draft, I would have laughed my ass off. But Sean Payton continuously just throws the schmenza on the table, and so far, his batting average in Denver is solid. People laughed at him for going Bo Nix early. Bo Nix looked fantastic. People laughed at him for throwing out Devon Vele. Devon Vele had production. People laughed at him for all these things. And now we have 2 more bit of confidence, Pat Bryant and RJ Harvey. I'm just not going against it. Now, am I going to get aggressive and, let his ADP shoot the roof? No, but I'll sit back in the pocket, and if he's there, I'm taking it because after Cortland Sutton, what is there? I mean, there's Evan Ingram now, I guess, but what else is there at the wide receiver position? You're going to buy Troy Franklin after all the stuff we've gone back and forth about Troy Franklin? You're buying Troy Franklin? Give me Marvin Mims over Troy Franklin. I mean, I'm not taking the string beat. I just ain't going to do it. Won't do it. Can't do it.
That's fair. Last one. I thought I was putting the Pat Bryant one in there because I thought you were going to – I mean, I think we're 4-0 right now on Funats.
No, I think number 1 was Fugaz, right?
Maybe.
Go back.
Number 5. Jordan Addison is the most valuable wide receiver 2 on a roster in the NFL for fantasy football purposes, which means Fugeza for not. He's the most valuable wide receiver 2 on a roster for fantasy football. which means if the number one goes down, there's nobody better than Jordan Addison to step into that role. Fugaz or Fanat.
Fugaz, I don't even know if he's top 5.
A what?
I don't even know if he's top 5. Devontae Adams. And this is in no particular order. This is just the guys that I'm taking over Addison in fantasy football in 2025. Devontae Adams. I'm going to save this one because it's kind of crazy, but I'm going to save this one. But Devontae Adams for sure. Then I think for this year, Cooper Kupp got to be on that list.
He's
going to be the number.
Yes, we don't even know if he's going to be on the. Okay.
He's got that punk rock hairstyle. He's ready to rock and roll. T. Higgins, not discount T. Higgins.
He
ever,
hasn't
not
done
once.
it. When Chase is out, he hasn't done it.
T. Higgins, taking T. Higgins.
That's such bullshit. Nate List is just infiltrating your brain.
You know me. Roma Dunze. I'm not passing up on Roma Dunze.
He's a wide receiver.
Well, then Luther Burden if you want to get silly, frankly. If you want to get silly, it is what it is. And then, of course, Addison's right there. He's in this mix of all this. But the guy that I'm also where we haven't brought up, Travis Hunter.
Oh, come on.
Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is otherworldly talent, and they're going to use him on offense. You don't make all this. You don't trade up for this for a guy who spells on offense. Liam Cohen's watching him in training camp right now going, audio, I just need this guy on the field. Putting him on the field with Brian Thomas 40 times a game is madness. It's potentially like taking Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and making it better. That's how good it is. So that's Fugaz. But I got a little wonky with some of them, but I just wanted to make the point known that it's definitely not the number one.
Damn. So Jefferson had a hamstring injury. That's kind of why that question was brought up. In 25 games with Jefferson, Addison has 98 career catches, 1,300 yards, and 16 touchdowns. I did not have the stats readily available for games without, but I could probably do backwards math. I think Jefferson missed 7 games in 2023. I don't think he missed any games in 2024. I think Jefferson, what did Addison have? Here, I got it. If I just do backwards math.
You can't even do frontwards math. What are you trying to do backwards math for?
What do you mean?
I just say, who are you trying to prove here?
98 catches. So he's had 35 catches. He's had 450 yards and 3 touchdowns.
In how many games?
That's not that good. Seven games.
You're backward math.
Why did my? It's because that I think at the San Francisco game he had 10 for 123 and 2 touchdowns.
He's good.
In that 3-week span, that's what it was. The Bears, Niners, and Packers. He went 5 for 28 and a touchdown, 10 for 123 and 2 touchdowns, 8 for 82 and a touchdown. That was October of 2023. Without Jefferson. That was also with Kirk. So I'll take it.
So a better quarterback. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut up. You win. All right. There's our first ever segment of Fugaz or Funat, sponsored by Alpha Seasoning.
Alpha Seasoning, the best seasoning on any type of meat. You got meat, you like meat, put some Alpha on it. Be Alpha.
People are going to say, what, you got a sponsor? I mean, we might have a show sponsor, but it might just be Alex and I's Elite Spice Blend. If you're watching on YouTube, you can click that QR code or you can go to alphaseasoning.com and you can get some. We're on pre-order right now. We're going to be shipping out this week once we pick up. I'm flying into Austin on Tuesday, and we're going to start shipping out another set of orders. Matty Cuum has his, and he's been enjoying it on his butter, lettuce, and deviled eggs.
On my butt.
I might bring some down later and see if I can put some on some oysters or something.
Ooh.
Every time I eat something now, I think about it. I'm like, man, I'm going to put this on here. I was telling you before the show, I tried it on some edamame. And that's not bad.
After we're done recording, I'm gonna throw out some cottage cheese.
See that one? Like I've told you before, I'm a 50-50 guy on cottage cheese. I just don't know. Cottage cheese. What have I had with cottage cheese? I've eaten it on the side of like sweet potatoes. I don't know if I've
I've
ever
just had it
mixed
straight
it.
up. Nah, yeah,
I've
I
mixed
listen. I
honey
like
and
it with
cottage
tahini.
cheese.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I could see that be
You
pretty good.
you know what? So they've been doing construction. I'm on the 7th floor of an apartment now. When you came down, I was in the house. Now I'm in an apartment. And they've been doing construction on this like rooftop situation out here since
Mhm.
we moved in. And the workers, what their choice of drink is, they bring up like 24 packs of water every day, put it in the cooler, they bring up ice, whatever. And then they bring up a whole bottle of tahini. And all of a sudden, like I'll just like look up my window and they'll be like right here working, and they'll take a bottle of water and they'll just pour tahini in the bottle of water and shake it up and drink the whole thing. And I'm
I'm
like
gonna
I
try
saw
it.
it happen. Like I was like doing a show the other day and I was like, what? And I thought about it and I was like, if you think about it, it's kind of just like, what's tahini made out of? Salt.
It's like salt. Yeah, it's like spicy salt.
It's dried chili peppers, dehydrated lime, and sea salt. And sea salt is just rehydration. Like that's just
Yeah, I
your
put salt in
fucking
my water all the time. Yeah.
it's literally just an electrolyte.
Mhm.
Have you ever heard of that? You've ever had that? You ever
No, but
tried
I'm
it
gonna
before?
do it
You think it'll be
in 5
spicy?
minutes. No, tahini's not that spicy, but you will get the chili lime. The chili lime flavor is the best. Remember when we were at the I don't know, when was the last time we get it? I got those mango pops, the tahini mango pops. Those were the tits. Those were the
Yes,
best.
from the oh gosh, I always get the coconut ones.
Yeah, the naturals or whatever they're called, but the mango tahini are just bananas. They're so good. Put
I don't know.
tahini, put that shit on everything.
Put that shit on everything. That's the end of it. Right there. Is there any other players we missed out on? I want to make sure we didn't. Um, I love Ted McMillan. We talked about Carolina a little bit. I need to bump him a little further up the cheat sheets. Oh, here, Devontae Walker. Tez Walker.
Oh yeah.
I this is not from coming from a perspective of like I want to draft him because I really don't want to draft anybody in Baltimore at the wide receiver position, but he's had a strong showing in OTAs this weekend and he's continued to flash during camp. Walker was a magnet when it came to finding the football on Saturday, hauling in multiple grabs from different quarterbacks. He and Lamar had the play of the day in 11 on 11 when Jackson heaved a pass down the middle of the field and Walker separated from Nate Wiggins and ran under the ball for an
Fast.
explosive play. Nate Wiggins, Mr.
That's
4-2.
fast. 4-2, yeah.
Devontae Walker, pretty fast in his own right.
Oh yeah. Very fast.
Any thoughts on the Baltimore receiving situation that is currently DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad Bateman, Zay, Tez Walker, LeJontay Westa? This is actually a fun group. I forgot Anthony Miller was in Baltimore right now.
The Anthony Miller. No,
Ant
I
Miller. That's my dude.
I for me, I think that Zay. I think I'm still just on the Zay Flowers train. We've talked about him ad nauseum how good he is, and we've seen the trajectory. It seems silly to now jump off because DeAndre Hopkins is there. I think Hopkins is good from an NFL standpoint, from a clutch standpoint, from a leadership, and just technical tactician standpoint. But we're talking about production and what's ahead. I'm not jumping off the Zay Flowers train right now. Not after we saw him do okay, do better. I think he's ready to blow up.
All right. One more thing, and we'll get out of here. Click that like button, click subscribe, stay tapped in, locked into the draft rankings. I know the last few weeks have been bumpy, they've been windy, they've been turning and whirling and burning. I've been trying to do different types of shows. We're just going to get back to the genesis of what everything is. It's just football, baby. We'll get into some more draft centric things once training camp slows down a little bit. And we'll start talking about the 2026 class more in depth. You can go watch Maddie Show's Blue Chips and the Futurecast over on Player Profiler's YouTube channel. But we're going to be dropping one of these every week for the next couple of weeks. And we'll talk further. But there's one team that I hopefully get to go see in 2.5 weeks. That's a new quarterback, a new receiver, 2 new corners, a new tight end, Rodgers, Metcalf, Jonnu, Jalen Ramsey, and Darius Slay. Pretty. I think Mike Tomlin said old dog trying to teach old dogs new tricks type of situation here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Roman Wilson has been listed as the wide receiver 2. Nobody's talking about Robert Woods, but Robert Woods is getting work right now.
Mhm.
Calvin Austin's getting some buzz. Everything I hear coming out of Pittsburgh is 8-4, 8-4, 8-4, which is Rodgers to Metcalf. Those are the numbers. Get those dialed into your head because they're horribly pukey numbers. Tommy Maddox to freaking, I don't even know who's ever been 4 in the history
I
of
don't know. Yeah, I don't
the
know.
Steelers, but like it's 8. It's disgusting. 8-4 is to Metcalf. A lot of that. And then I haven't heard a lot of Jonnu because Jonnu just got onto the practice field for the first time this weekend. Immediate thoughts, Pittsburgh, and then we'll get out of here.
I think there's a lot of value on that team, and I am excited to see what happens if a specimen like DK Metcalf gets 150 targets. What happens if he gets that Devontae Adams treatment where it's 3rd and 4 on the 4 and they go to him? What happens if if DK Metcalf, that specimen, is not used as a piece, but as the piece? That is what I am very, very excited to see when it comes to Rodgers and how he finds that guy. Because if we know anything about Rodgers, is he finds his guy and he relies on that guy. He's looking at it. It's got to be DK. It's got to be DK.